Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert, covering another woke shutdown. The governor of Arkansas is banning nonsense woke anti-women words like pregnant person and chest feeding. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate you guys. Coming from the Arkansas Advocate, which is mighty mad that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, governor of Arkansas, decided, no, you know what? We don't need this kind of language in our official government documents. It's inappropriate. It's not real. And it's not something the government should be sanctioning. Executive order is banning gender-neutral language in Arkansas government documents. Governor Sanders cites an example from a Department of Health memo and claims other uses of what she calls nonsense terms have been reported to her office. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed an executive order on Thursday eliminating what she called woke anti-women words from Arkansas government documents. It's important to not have women or men be denigrated by the government. Everything they do to take away your gender, to take away your identity, to supposedly accommodate someone else is dehumanizing. It's not just negative and disrespectful to women. It makes you less of a human being. And this is being determined by government. Not good. Can't go for it. The order prohibits exclusionary sexist language in official state government business, citing XX chromosomes and the ability to perform the miracle of birth as what defines women. Sanders signed the order after a press conference with several female state legislators and other officials in attendance. Quote, "We are all here to say, frankly, that we've had enough," Sanders said. "Enough trying to erase women and girls, enough denying our biological differences from men, and enough of the craziness that is taking over our country." The order lists several accurate female-affirming alternatives to be used instead of gender-neutral language, such as pregnant woman or pregnant mom instead of pregnant person. Sanders referred to the language in question as nonsense terms that erase women's voices and experiences. When they take away mom and dad, the next thing they could be taking away is custody. You can't let them keep pushing and pushing and pushing and taking away our humanity and taking away our rights. Gender-neutral language regarding menstruation, birth, and breastfeeding accounts for people assigned female at birth who are transgender, non-binary, or gender fluid, or whatever the next thing is they make up, or otherwise do not identify as women. Sanders is Arkansas's first female governor. From 2017 to 2019. She was the third woman and first mother to be White House press secretary. Quote, "On the left, women have taken a backseat to political correctness," she said, citing this as the reason behind a 2021 law barring transgender girls, biological boys, from participating in girls' sports in Arkansas. The primary sponsors of this law were present at the signing, in addition to Representative Mary Bentley, who sponsored several laws earlier this year aimed at protecting traditional boys and girls. One that requires students in Arkansas schools to use the bathrooms and locker rooms that match their gender assigned at birth. One that requires public school teachers and professors to use the pronouns and names students were assigned at birth. One that opens the door for medical malpractice lawsuits against doctors who provide gender-affirming care or sex change operations or who knows what to transgender minors. Arkansas Surgeon General Kay Chandler, a practicing OB/GYN in Little Rock, expressed support for the executive order, calling it common sense and a refusal to let political correctness get in the way of science. I mean, I have to agree. You have an OB/GYN, she's got a certain business to do with certain biological female clients. She needs to deal with that. We don't need this in government documentation, confusing one gender for another gender or trying to pretend that the genders aren't different. They have different medical needs, different social needs, all kinds of needs. Enough with the confusion. And it's not just needs, it's also rights and dignity. When asked by reporters for examples of gender-neutral language in government documents, Sanders said she was, quote, "not keeping a running tally, but was aware of a specific example from the state health department and several others that have been reported to her office." Sanders gave the executive order in advance to Fox News so they could promote it. And as an example, Fox News cited a health department memo from June that says small amounts of PFAS substances can lead to negative health effects on pregnant people and in developing babies, and that needed to be corrected. The executive order specifically states, quote, in official government documents, the following exclusionary and sexist terms shall be replaced with accurate female-affirming alternatives. Rather than pregnant people or pregnant person, use pregnant women or pregnant mom. Rather than chest feeding, use breastfeeding. Rather than body fed or person fed, use breastfed. Rather than human milk, use breast milk. Rather than birthing person, use birth mom. Rather than laboring person, use birth mom. Rather than menstruating person or menstruating people, use woman or women. Rather than birth giver, use woman. Rather than womenxman, woman with an X, or women, woman with a Y, use woman, WOMAN. The transgender advocacy group known as Intransitive's executive team pointed out in a statement to the Advocate that Sanders' order is, quote, openly discriminating against her constituents and ignores the experiences of cisgender women, which is a slur. Cisgender is an inappropriate term, who are not able to menstruate or become pregnant. Well, whatever. Quote, the governor has spent her short time in office spewing hatred and robbing Arkansans of life-saving health care, so we aren't surprised by her most recent attack on the many trans people in our state, the team said in an email. Not all people with a uterus are women, and forcing propaganda doesn't change this fact. Well, of course, the governor and pretty much biological reality does say differently. But this isn't the only interesting thing that Sarah Huckabee Sanders has been up to, and I don't know why other governors haven't been doing this already. This just happened. Arkansas becomes the first state to force out Chinese company as Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders orders a seed company to sell off 160 acres of land amid security concerns. Because do we really need Chinese state-owned companies owning land in the United States, particularly farming land? It's not like they're a friendly country to the United States. It's not like they're even an ally. But why does any country need to own farmland that isn't an American company? Doesn't really make any sense. You would think that it would be a national security thing. Arkansas has become the first state to force out a Chinese-owned company, with a seed producer being ordered to sell off its land amid national security concerns. Chinese-owned subsidiary Syngenta has been ordered to relinquish 160 acres of farmland in Craighead County, Arkansas within 2 years. The order is the first of its kind under state legislation passed earlier this year, which forbids certain foreign countries from acquiring or holding land in the United States. Syngenta, which is ultimately owned by government-run ChemChina, owns Northrop King Seed Company that operates in the state. China is among the prohibited parties as it is subject to U.S. arms export controls known as the International Traffic in Arms Regulations. Quote, this is about where your loyalties lie, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders said. The governor said that countries potentially hostile to the United States could utilize knowledge of American farming practices to their advantage. Quote, seeds are technology. Chinese-owned state companies filter that technology back to their homeland, stealing American research and telling our enemies how to target American farms. I mean, that does seem like kind of a serious concern. Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin also revealed that the company had missed a June deadline to disclose the foreign ownership rule, meaning he would be imposing the maximum $280,000 fine on the company. The company will have 30 days to pay the penalty and could face further action if it refuses. Griffin called the decision smart and strategic and said if the company fails to adhere to that order, the state could look at removing their ownership through the courts. Agriculture is the state's biggest industry, and the area is a major exporter of rice, soybeans, cotton, poultry, and feed grains. Huckabee Sanders signed Act 636 earlier this year, banning foreign entities from owning agricultural lands. Syngenta has owned the site at Craighead County for the last 35 years. The company has stressed that China has never dictated which areas of farmland it should buy or lease or any of its actions. Quote, the order for Syngenta to divest itself of 160 acres of agricultural land in Craighead County, which the company has owned since 1988, is a short-sighted action that fails to account for the efforts of such an action, intended or not, on the U.S. agricultural market. Spokesman Saswato Das told Reuters. Sorry, Saswato, you're going to have to get rid of the land. Our people in Arkansas are Americans led by Americans who care deeply about serving Arkansas farmers. But you're owned by the Chinese government. No, you shouldn't have access to American land or American secrets. We have enough problems right now with the Chinese government. Arkansas is not the first state to ban foreign ownership of farmland. Montana bans the sale of land near military bases to 6 countries, including China. What are you doing? Ban the sale of all land near military bases at the very least, including China, but to all foreign countries. We don't need that kind of risk. For what possible benefit would we allow that? A further 23 states, including Florida, Tennessee, and Virginia, have laws banning or restricting foreign ownership and investments in farmland. I'm officially calling for the strictest limitations on foreign ownership of any American land. It's completely unnecessary. We have plenty of people that want to own this land who are based in the United States, and there are all kinds of threats that the country has had for many years, but in particular right now. So we just don't need foreign companies owning U.S. land. We also don't need language in actual official government documents that are trying to erase the differences between men and women just because it pleases certain people or it affirms other people. No, we don't need that. We have issues that very specifically address guidance, rights, responsibilities for biological males and females identified in government documents. That's how we need to keep it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.